What's up, bros, non-bros, gigolos? Guys, I want to give you an option strategy that you guys can use right now that I always use on Fridays, and it has been crushing. So on Fridays, it's options expiration. You have 0 DT, which for a lot of people means you're just YOLOing into plays and trying to hit home runs. But there is a way to properly do it that I do every Friday. My main thing on Friday is always to look for breakout charts that could go right off at the open. Because it's options expiration, you have the ability to get really quick gains, and the options will be cheap. The key is, though, you have to find the right vehicle. So a lot of times people will just do like a look at NVIDIA, Tesla, whatever, and they're like, okay, and they try to YOLO something in it. But the thing is, you have to find something that has the potential to be an all-day trender or a multi-hour trender to really elongate those gains. And so we took a trade in MSTR that really had like a picture-perfect breakout setup. So you had a flat top breakout here, and it took off to about 230 and then retested into that breakout zone right here and holding right into the 9 EMA. So I'm watching this thing this whole week as it comes back into the 9 EMA and starts to work off that overbought condition. And as you start to retest this area, Friday's usually the perfect day for this type of thing to happen. So I have this set up on the daily chart that I really like. And so what I want to do is come up with some levels and then hit the 0 DTs as you start to come and press right through. And so we started taking this thing off like right off at the gate in the chat room. You know, we started rolling in around 198.80, and I did the 200 calls on this thing. And so what you want to be doing is, as soon as you start to break the previous day's highs, and so I marked that out on TC2000 with the dotted line. That way you know, like right off the gate, what's happening. Now you've got this excellent push. And so as you start to break this thing, right, so like 198 and some change, I want to start hitting those 0 DTEs right off the gate. And so, you know, these are going to be like sub $2, you know, not sub $2, sub $3, and they're usually pretty expensive. And now you're off to the races, right? And so you want to start to scale out as you start to kind of get into these right zones. And so you can start to see like what happened on this bad boy was like you end up with this huge trender, and the 0 DTs also start to trend. So they go from a little bit under 3 to 19, and you have numerous setups that you can go into this. And so for us personally, like I like to scale out quickly because I'm going to reload. So I'm selling off 201s, 203s, you know, and I'm just kind of piecing out of this thing, 205.60. And so I'm selling out of this thing as we start to go, and it ends up being like a hot trade. So I got out of the rest of them around 212 as I started hitting the beach. I usually don't trade after lunch over here, but this is just a nice, easy way to kind of go in and really elongate your gains. Now, the key to supersizing this type of move, though, so when you hit it here, you have to put the stop at the bottom of the candle, right? Like you have to put the stop at the bottom of the candle so that your risk is minimized. You still got to give it room. So where a lot of people make mistakes on options is that, you know, especially on Fridays, they like use a 5% stop, 10% stop, but these things are moving around 30, 40, 50% per candle, right? And so you want to watch your size. Like I only went in 20 contracts on the short dated ones, and then I usually will add some out for the next week too. And so you don't have to go huge size. Like that's not the whole point. You want to get an elongated gain. When you oversize, what you'll often see is that you'll mess up the trade because you're going to be too beholden to your P&L. And what you really want to be doing is, so, you know, if you notice here, I was selling out 205s and 203s because I'm going to reload into these. And so I want to take these spikes and just keep selling out, like basically every $1 to $2, I want to sell out a portion of it, like a quarter, because at some point you're going to get a secondary setup. And so what you start to see is, see how you start testing into the VWAP and testing into the VWAP. And so this shaded area, we call this the bone zone, right? And so that's kind of your trend indicator. So when you start testing into this, right, I know that you're going to start to hold and probably re-break out. So you can reload into these zones and just kind of reload these calls around $7 and some change, or you can kind of go out the next strike price, right? As, you know, you can get the 210s or something like that too. I like to kind of keep the same one on because it just makes it easier for me to kind of scale in and out. So as you start to hold into these things, right, you're holding into your between your 9 and 20 EMAs. That's your short-term trend. And so when you start to hold and you start to push out of this bad boy, what you want to do is start to purchase this as it breaks out, put your stop loss under the 9 EMA. And so now you're back into these things. So, you're adding these calls back at $8 or $9, and now you're back into these things. And so as I reloaded these, I sell back into the spikes over here, and then I was off for the day. Where I made my mistake was I got a little bit lackadaisical. It was a nice day out. My kid was wanting to go play and do dad stuff, and so I missed the secondary breakouts here, which would have been probably pretty epic. I could have, doubled or tripled my gains if I'd stayed a little bit longer. But for me, just like your parents told you back in the day, nothing good happens after 12. Same thing in trading. Nothing good happens after 12. So I'm usually out of the game by then. But that's how you want to do the zero DTE, guys. You want to choose the right vehicle. That's the main thing, right? You want to choose the right vehicle, something that has a big breakout that has the potential to trend. And then you go just the next strike price. Like, you don't want to go too far out or anything like that, because then you start playing a weird game with the decay and all of that. I want to start making money right away. My best trades, if you're doing options, the trade will start to work within 30 seconds. Like when I took in MSTR, I took zero heat on it, meaning the minute I bought it, it started to go up and it started to prove itself. Then I can start to adjust my stop losses and my risk, and I really have myself a little bit of fun. So guys, hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. I love you guys. Peace.